Okay, let's talk about morning routines. This is not an insignificant topic, and you've probably seen all the videos, the perfect morning routine that will supposedly transform your life. You wake up at 5 a.m., you take an ice bath, you read 50 pages, you journal, you meditate, you run 10 miles, and then if you have time, you have some breakfast, a healthy breakfast, naturally. But here's the thing, there's no perfect morning routine. What matters really is having a routine. So I would say, although there's no perfect routine, if you don't have one, then you're setting yourself up for failure, right? You have to have a routine that works for you, that you could actually sustain, and that gives you the energy and the focus and the momentum that you want for your day. Many people already have one. They have one that works for them. They don't want to mess with it. Some other people could do better with it. And maybe you're aware of that. And, maybe it's just a matter of you're so used to waking up and stumbling to the bathroom and peeing and just jumping into everything. And maybe it could be a little more intentional and it could set you up better for your day. Let's look at what's so powerful about mornings. Mornings are kind of like games. They're kind of like baseball games, right? Every day you got a new one. And it's a chance to win, and it's a chance to create something new. It's a blank slate for you. And physiologically, your nervous system, you have the opportunity to set the tone for your body and your nervous system for the rest of the day. If you have a calm, intentional start, it can lower your cortisol and it can help with your circadian rhythms. Now, let's not poo-poo circadian rhythms. Circadian rhythms are one of those things that we hear about, and it's like, what is that? Why does that matter so much? And I'll tell you why it matters so much. It's because we are designed to get cues from our environment, and those cues actually help inform our physiology. Like, for example, the chemical hormones that are released. We basically evolved to where our bodies are very much in tune with the environment, with the sun, and it knows, for example, the first morning light that will set off a chain of events that will release chemicals that help you get to sleep at night. So instead of taking melatonin, you could optimize your melatonin by getting first morning light, getting outside, and being there for 20 minutes or so. I'm not saying you have to do it. What I'm saying is that is an example of, if you want to optimize your physiology, then that is something that you can do. You can tell your body, hey, time to get activated, and we're in control of the day. Morning routines also matter for psychology, right? If you have a routine that you can rely on, it will remove decision fatigue. So instead of starting the day and just reacting to whatever comes, you start the day kind of leading it, kind of taking control and feeling in control. And for those of you who are control freaks, and even for those of you who are not control freaks, a sense of control makes all the difference in the world. I mean, it's the difference between being secure and knowing you can have what you want and knowing you can handle things, and being curled up in a fetal position. So the morning routine can help with that. You can lead your day. A morning routine could also help you with momentum, right? Because what you do first often shapes the rest of your day. If you get some small victories, that can lead to more wins later. And again, if we go back to psychology, if you have a small win under your belt, first thing in the morning, You have that good feeling about yourself. So if you do not have a morning routine, I will encourage you to get one. If you do have one, I will encourage you to rethink about it and optimize it. And that is the purpose of this talk today. How can we look at that and how can we optimize the morning routine? Now, we don't need to look at it like it's a price fix meal, right? We can look at it like it's a buffet. You pick the practices that make sense for you and for your goals and for what you want to accomplish and get out of life. Okay. There are some options, though, on this menu, on this buffet. So we're in Vegas, we're at the morning routine buffet, and there are all these options, right? So one would be for body resets, for example. There's a whole litany of options that if you want to start out first helping your body out, there are things you can do. So, for example, a lot of people like to do lemon water first thing in the morning. It's very good for pH, for hydration. All right. Some people will do juicing. That's a great way to start the morning. I'm reminded of some clients I had. They were part of some men's group, and they had this great morning routine where they would juice every morning, and I think they would meditate and pray. And that was a big part of their routine. Grounding is wonderful. We get energy from the earth in the form of certain chemicals called ions. So if we get our bare feet on the earth in the morning, all of a sudden we have all those good chemicals and we have motion. It actually creates kind of motion in the body with fluids. So a great morning routine is getting outside so you expose yourself to first morning light and grounding so you can get those chemicals, those ions, right? Those are the same chemicals that make you feel so great when you're at the beach. And a nourishing breakfast could help. A lot of people are not eating breakfast these days, right? Because they're practicing intermittent fasting, and there are some hormonal benefits to kind of waiting until later in the day until you have your first meal. We're better off calling it first meal. You can call it breakfast, but just understand that breakfast is your first meal. It's when you're breaking the fast. So a lot of people are choosing to do that at lunchtime. Okay. Movement is obviously a good thing to start doing in the morning, right? So people love to do yoga. You know, you get up in the morning, you do a few sun salutations, and that will get you moving, and that will get your heart pumping, and you know your muscles working a little bit. That's wonderful, as is walking, going to the gym, even just doing some light stretching. You know, there's this concept of it's called a gradient, right? What is a gradient? A gradient is like a ladder, right? It could be thought of a series of moves that get from simplest to, you know, more involved, more complex, right? And so when you talk about your health, if you have not been doing a routine, you probably want to start on a gradient, at least if you're past a certain age. Young people don't need a gradient. They could just jump right in, right? But the rest of us need gradients. So stretching is a great first rung of that gradient ladder. You start out with stretching every morning for a while, then maybe you do some walking, then maybe you build up to some sun salutations or weights. That would work out fantastically. There's also, you can start out with mind and spirit. Also a wonderful way to start out in the morning. So prayer, for example, a lot of people, they wake up, they say a morning prayer. Meditation. All right. Some people will start out with journaling. And that's a nice thing to do for your mind, for your spirit, but also for your ability to accomplish things, right? You write out your goals. That's become a big deal. And then you could also do momentum builders, right? Do 1 or 2 business tasks, for example. If you're the type you wake up and you're thinking about what you have to do that day for your work, you know, and you have it on your mind, maybe you get up and you just do it right away. Get rid of one. Build that momentum, right? Get that snowball going. And then you'll already have a victory under your belt when you get into the office. So if you wake up, even if it's a matter of just answering a couple of emails, right? That's some movement towards what you want. Okay. You could plan your day. You could read something inspiring. That will also help build momentum. Right? The goal is not necessarily to do all of these things. If you could do all of these things, then you have a lot of time on your hands, and God bless you. But the goal is to choose a few that give you the energy and the clarity that you want, that help you accomplish what it is that you're trying to accomplish in the morning. And there are all of these options that we're talking about now. This is the buffet. And it's nice to have a buffet. By the way, let me interject here and say that one of the best things you can do, and it sounds like a minor thing, is make your bed. And there is a guru type out there. He's an army type, and he does a great talk about this, right? You make your bed. You know, you've controlled one thing. You've made it neat. It's not something that has to be on your mind for the rest of the day. There are people who wake up, they don't make their bed, and then before they go to sleep, they do. So just making your bed is a wonderful thing to do first thing. Now, this guy, and I forgot his name, I apologize, but he's not the only guru out there. A lot of gurus these days are talking about morning routines, and they have some great routines that they recommend. The problem is, if it is indeed a problem, is that these are one size fits all. And what I'm encouraging you to do right now is to design one that works best for you. But let's talk about a few examples from these gurus. There's a gentleman named Hal Elrod, and he talks about the miracle morning. Right? Not bad to have a miracle in the morning. I could use a miracle. And he starts out with silence, affirmations, visualization, then advances from that kind of mental, spiritual realm to exercise, reading, and some journaling. And he's even got an acronym for this. It's SAVERS, SAVERS. Silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and journaling. Journaling is a J. I don't know why it's SAVERS. But okay, I'm not going to be a stickler. Then there is our old friend Tony Robbins, the very famous guru Tony Robbins. By the way, I used to work at a chiropractic office where Tony Robbins would come in. Big man. Huge hands. He shook my hand. He almost crushed it. And I'm not a small person. So Tony Robbins recommends priming yourself with breath work as a first thing. And that's not a bad thing to do. I don't know what kind of breath work he recommends because, you know, there's a lot of different kinds. There's the famous Ujjayi breath from yoga. That's a certain type of breathing. There's some other types of breathing out there. It's really fascinating when you think about the science of breathing, you know, and how the word inspiration has to do with spirit. And that's how people see breathing and breath. There's a gentleman named Tim Ferriss who's famous. He's sort of an online guru himself. He recommends meditation, exercise, journaling, and tea. And you know what? I like the idea of tea. And I'll tell you why. Most of us are into morning coffee, and coffee is kind of that jolt that gets us going, right? Tea is a gentler way to slide into the swing of things. And you know, the thing about tea also is it's kind of ritualistic. It kind of sanctifies things. And there are a variety of teas you can have, and various people are into various teas. And it's like anything else these days. You could be an expert on tea if you get into it, but it's not a bad idea to start your morning with a little tea. I usually have tea at night, coffee in the morning. Okay. So these are great. And as I said before, there's somebody else's formula. The power comes when you adapt the practices to your life, not just doing them by rote. Although, to be fair, you're probably better off doing them by rote than doing nothing at all. We're probably better off having an intentional morning than an unintentional one. Than a morning where we get up we curse the dawn, and then we wait to be inundated by life. So that's how we should ultimately choose our practices, right? We should do it based on intention. And it's as simple as asking yourself, what do I want more of in life right now? Do I want more energy? Do I want more peace? Do I want more discipline? And then this is how you design your morning routine based around what it is that you want. Do you want to get going first thing with business? Now, if you want more energy, then you might want to start out with the sunlight and the movement and hydration. If you want more peace and centering, then prayer, journaling, or meditation would be your best bet. And if you want more productivity, you could start out with a simple to-do list or taking care of one business task first thing. Of course, it's not a bad idea to do that the night before also, right? Just get it out of your head and then execute it. I mean, specifically a to-do list. So here's what I'm going to recommend to you. Pick 2 to 4 practices, test them for a week, and then you could tweak it. You could see how that works for you. I mean, what's the criteria we're looking for? What are the metrics? Who's into metrics? Raise your hand. Not that I could see it. We love metrics these days. This is the age of information. This is the age of statistics, right? So what are the metrics that we're looking for? Well, are you starting out the morning more energized as a result of the plan that you decide to implement? Are you starting out with more momentum? Are you starting out feeling more centered? You could theoretically journal that, but you'll know it. You'll know that if you're waking up just more excited to attack your day as a result of your routine and more confident that you could actually do it. You'll know if you're feeling more in control, if you're more causative, right? And like I said, you can track it, you can rate it if you want. Very few people are going to do this. I mean, that's there's a lot of things that can be statted. You could stat how you feel first thing in the morning as a result of your routine, but you could also just know it, right? You know when you know. Now, here's an optional spiritual layer. Not a bad idea to start out with a spiritual layer, right? I mean, if you believe that you are more than just your body and that you are more than just your intellect, if you believe that you are a spirit and that you want to be able to, as a spirit, expand. Most faiths have morning prayers or rituals. For example, the Modeh in Judaism, the morning offering in Christianity, and in Islam, there's something, I think it's pronounced the Fajr prayer. And then in Hinduism, they have mantras. So these are very good ways to get centered as a spiritual being. If you have that understanding that that is who you are, then certainly you want that to grow because that's going to inform every other aspect of your life. And interestingly enough, also not surprisingly, they all share a common theme, which is gratitude, alignment, and dedication to the day ahead. And this can be done even for a few seconds. This doesn't have to take long. This could be, a matter of 30 seconds. And ideally, you're doing it with your full concentration and attention. But even if you don't, even if you do it by rote, it can add something to you, right? Intentional gratitude can set the tone for your nervous system and your mindset. And it can be done right from bed, even before you get out of bed. So not a bad idea to do that, right? You can imagine that that's a much more intentional and effective way to get out of bed than just reacting to a blaring alarm clock. Okay, so here's your homework. Number one, decide what it is you want more of. Now, if you're like me, it's everything. Right? You want more success in business, and you want better relationships, and you want a better spiritual connection, and you want better physical health, all of it, right? And pick 2 to 4 morning practices that align with what it is that you want. And then try them for a week. And then notice how you feel, and notice what's different, what the trend lines are, and then you could adjust if needed. But be aware, your perfect morning isn't someone else. You own it. It's the thing that you can do consistently and that energizes you, that grounds you, that builds momentum for your day and your life. So that is my homework for you. That is my request of you. If you need any help with that, then reach out to me. All right. I'm not sure what kind of help I can give you even on that. I mean, it's this is a pretty kind of intuitive thing, right? I mean, you know what you want, you set a plan for that, and you try it out. Having said that, I am thinking of creating a visual worksheet that I can just post in the comments. You can take a look at it. You can see what might work for you. So on that note, I want to wish you a beautiful day, a great middle of September. Football is rolling now. Don't even ask me about the New York Giants. The Yankees, however, might have a little more hope, although they have some challenges. You did not ask for this update, but this is just me indulging, being self-indulgent. Have a great week.